Great to welcome back to our Book Talk segment, man who has written another in his great series of Gray Man novels, great thrillers, mystery thrillers. This one's called Agent in Place. So we're joined again by Mark Greaney, joined us by telephone. Mark, good to talk with you again. How you been?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back, Doug.
Yeah, just checking through the archives. It was about a year ago, as we talked today, that we had you on about the Gunmetal Gray book. So you're very prolific.
Oh, that's great. I keep cranking these out.
Well, congratulations not only on this book, but just the series. I know we talked before about how the Gray Man novels have really taken off for you, and I guess any author hopes you get a series or a character people like, but did you expect it to be this successful?
No, I mean, the actual honest truth is I was for the first Gray Man book, I was just trying to get a book deal. I was trying to get a book published to hold a printed book in my hand, and I did not have grand designs on where I was going to go in book 5 and book 9 or whatever. But once the first book came out and it did really well, they asked me for more, and the series grew from there. So it's a lot of fun to keep doing these.
This is the 7th, right? 7th in the Gray Man series.
This is number 7, yeah.
And I talked to so many different authors, and I never really asked the question, but it's tough getting the first book published, isn't it? I mean, that's the toughest thing, to get number 1 done, right?
Yeah, it was the toughest. It was tough for me. I started writing my first book when I was 22, and I got published at 42. Not because I was rejected for 20 years. I was mostly lazy about 18 of those years, maybe. But the Gray Man was actually the 4th completed novel that I finished, and that was the first one that I got published. So it certainly didn't happen overnight.
Right. Yeah. It's a tough business. Well, anyway, let's talk about this book again. It's the Gray Man novel, and the main character is Court Gentry, who again goes on a mission. I don't want to give too much away, as I don't like to do it when we talk about novels and mysteries. But this time he goes over to Syria, right? That's kind of where the case begins.
Yeah, Syria is involved. He's working as a contract agent. He's a former CIA guy working as a contract agent for a Syrian resistance group. And at first he's in Paris trying to kidnap the mistress of the Syrian president. And there's a way that they think they can end the civil war with some information she has. But once he gets this woman, they find out she has a baby back in Damascus under guard because he's the only male heir to the Syrian dictator. So somebody has to go in and get the baby out to elicit the woman's help, and the Gray Man is the guy who has to go into Syria and do it.
Yeah, he has to actually get the baby to kind of get the mission to be successful, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the baby is sort of the football that everybody needs to make this story work.
And when again, I know I asked before, but we have different people tuning in all the time. But when you write a character like Court Gentry, you said he's part of the CIA, and that's kind of your background. You have a degree in political science. I know international relations. You kind of worked in that field, so a little bit based on your experiences, right?
Well, to a very, very, very small extent, but I have met people doing my research. I wrote a series of books with Tom Clancy, some Jack Ryan books, right. And that absolutely opened doors for me. And suddenly I was talking to people at intelligence agencies and at the Pentagon and at other military installations and stuff like that. So really, a lot of the impetus for this is people that I've met while doing research.
And when you do your research, obviously the CIA not known for giving out information. So do you get some, or do you have to kind of create it a little bit in your own mind and hope it kind of is what they do?
Yeah, a lot of it is created. A lot of it comes from reading open source stuff, and then a lot of it comes from former intelligence officers or whatever who are always giving me non-classified things, but
right.
Definitely steering me in the right directions. It's a lot of fun because I'll talk to someone in special operations or something like that, and it'd be something I never thought of and I've never read in another book, and just makes me want to dig in more and write about it.
I don't know if you've ever, I guess you're roughly in the same age group. You remember a show called Get Smart back in the 60s?
Yeah.
And again, in reruns, a lot of the stuff that Get Smart writers created, for their spy stuff, the FBI and the CIA actually contacted the writers later on and saying, how'd you find out about that? Because they thought maybe they stole
That's
some of their
terrific.
idea. I wonder if you had the same experience.
Yeah, that's terrific. I've definitely been in conversations with people, and asked them a question about something, and they'll say, okay, we need to stop talking about this and we need to start talking about something else. So you know when you're kind of getting close to home, but I'm never going to give away anything classified, and hopefully nobody's going to give me anything classified. I always joke with people, if they're in the military or intelligence field and they're giving me a briefing, I always joke with them and say, don't underestimate my ability to get it wrong anyhow. You could probably tell me exactly the way things are, and I might misunderstand it. So don't worry, everything's going to be okay.
And again, we mentioned this is the 7th in the Gray Man series, Court Gentry. And again, I know when I've talked to other authors, and I think I've asked you before as well, but when you have a character that's continuing like this, that character evolves, right? I'm sure he's a lot different now than he was in book 1, or has he grown a lot?
He's grown a lot, and every one of these books is a standalone novel. You don't have to read them all, but if you do read them all, you do see this longer story arc, and it's important to me as a writer who comes from being a reader, and it's also just important to me for my own interest that there is a development of all the characters that recur in these stories. So now he's a little bit more cynical than he was. At one point, he was being pursued by the CIA because of something that was resolved, and now he works with the CIA but not for them. And in this one, he's doing a solo thing. So I like to keep every story different and fresh.
Do you keep kind of a Bible for yourself of what you've used in previous storylines to, kind of maybe refer to? I know you said this is standalone, but you have to kind of keep. I know your readers have good memories, and they remember, I guess, what happens in previous books. Do you keep your own little Bible of what happened before?
No, but I should. I should just take a break and work on that because it gets tougher and tougher with each novel. Early on in the series, I said that the hero was from near Tallahassee, just as a throwaway line, and then later on, I misremembered that for another book and said he was near Jacksonville. So when it was time to have him go home, I had to look for a town that was between Tallahassee and Jacksonville, but it was a total just screw up. I just couldn't remember.
Well, again, Court Gentry, again, the main character, and this is where he goes overseas again, and we won't give, again, too much away, but the 7th in the series called Agent in Place, and we've been talking with Mark Greaney today. And Mark, I know you have a website. Give that out again, and people get more information about the latest book.
Sure, it's markgreaneybooks.com, and my last name is Greaney, and then books.com, and that has information about all my books there.
Great. We'll also put a link on our website when we post the podcast as well. And I guess you have another one in the works. You don't have to tell us what it's about, but I'm sure Court Gentry continues. Like the Bond movies, they say he'll be back. I'm sure Court Gentry will be back.
He will be back next February, and Mission Critical. Yeah, that's the next one.
Oh, you got one title already? That's great. Well, we'll look forward to talking to you at that time. But we invite everybody, get Agent in Place. And Mark, always great to talk with you. We'll look forward to the next time. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or DougMilesMedia.com.